Hello, everybody.
Hi there.
And welcome back to another episode of the CCT, the first 5 years.
Yep, still Gail Becker.
I'm still Andrew Abrams, unfortunately.
We're still doing our Zoom interviews.
We are, yes. And this week, it's not, Gail, it almost feels like we're going slightly backwards.
It is.
As we do this, because now we're doing Violet, and Violet was the first show we ever did in 2015.
Our first show, and man, we jumped out of the gate fast with that show.
One might say perhaps a fair bit too fast, but you know what? It turned out to be a great show.
Yeah, we had an amazing cast and an amazing band. I mean, it was great.
So, yes, indeed. And in fact, one of those people of the amazing cast is our star who played Violet, Ms. Leigh Ann Larkin.
Here she comes.
Who is, boom, there she is. Welcome, Leigh Ann Larkin, to CCT, the first 5 years. What you'll see when you watch this is we have a cool little tune that was written for us that we put at the front of our thing, and it's a how do we put it? It's
homage.
And it's an homage to the last 5 years. So it's
it's
the first 5 years. So yeah,
it's real cute.
So how
we were thinking? Oh no, wait! I wanted to say I'm interrupting Andy. I'm sorry. If we were doing Violet back in the 5 years ago, and we said, "So Leanne, where do you see yourself in 5 years?" Would this be it?
You'd say, my parents' house. I'm living with my parents.
Without a doubt.
Right. So yes, where are you? How's it going? And tell us what's been keeping you busy.
Yeah, I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My parents live here, and I grew up here. So it is really nice to be home. I mean, this is the most time I've been home since I was 18 years old.
Wow.
So in that way, it's been nice, and it's been sort of a gift. But
is your room the same?
What'd you say?
Is your room the same?
No, I don't have a room anymore.
Is it a gym?
Is it a workout space or a big closet? Arts and crafts?
I actually am sleeping. So my sister and her husband and her 4 kids also live with my parents. They're not here right now because everybody's kind of like musical sharing their houses. Like if somebody we don't have an extra house, but her in-laws do. So sort of spread out. But I'm sleeping in the kids' room. Yeah. I just get shoved wherever. But,
well, it's so funny because I just have to say that because especially with TV, things come out later in movies and things like that. You just all of a sudden appeared on. You were in the first episode of The Hunter. Is that correct? The new.
Yeah.
It's on my list.
Crazy moment.
Crazy Jew hunting Nazi or Jews hunting Nazis. Right? Isn't that what it's about?
Yeah.
It's a neat idea. It's in New York.
Very interesting.
Right? In New York?
Yeah. With Al Pacino. It was really cool because I got to play Dylan Baker's wife, who is a theater actor as well, and I love him. I mean, I've loved him for so long, so it was really neat too. And plus, it was like the first scene in the first episode of the whole series, so that was very cool. That was very cool.
And you're also
actually has been good.
And you're also in Blue Bloods. Sorry, you're in Blue Bloods too, correct?
Yeah, that and one of the episodes that I filmed before the whole Corona aired while I was home, and so that was nice to have something like happening while you're just like, what's happening with my life?
So would you say you're doing like half and half with film and TV and musical theater? Are you still sort of like really bopping around between both?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot more TV, and there's not really a rhyme or reason to it. Like there was no like strategy or plan or, favoritism or anything like that. It was just kind of, how the chips fell, and then things start to like gain momentum in one area. So you're like, okay, so this is what's happening here. And then because there was a show that I was up for that was I don't know if it's potentially still in the works, a Broadway show, and that didn't like move forward. And so it's like, if that had moved forward, like it still could, but if that would, then that takes you kind of in another direction. So it's just kind of all about where things are happening in the business, it seems. So,
and of course with Broadway shows too, like because most of your shows are in the evening, sometimes you can still film TV stuff during the day while you're doing a show, right? Isn't that
Yes.
something that?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I've done that before, which has been really great. And if I get to continue with Blue Bloods, you know, for as many other seasons as they have, they got picked up next year, which is for the next season, which is amazing. But then I would definitely, because they're both, I mean, they're both equally lovable, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like all facets of acting. I don't, for me, they're so different, but I love doing all of it.
Well, and it's funny as a sort of segue is that ironically the show that we did after Violet was Gypsy.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
With, you know, Michelle Ragusa was our Mama Rose, and then
I love her.
it's awesome. We just interviewed her last week for that show. Vote for her for equity.
I will.
Council member.
I will. I think I just got my stuff in the mail.
I know. But a lot, our viewers may not know that you played why can't I think of her name? What?
Petra?
No, I'm sticking with Gypsy for a second.
Oh, June.
June. Why don't I can think of it's my grandmother's name? I can't even think of it. Dainty. June with the Patti LuPone version, correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty awesome thing. You told me some really cool stuff about that. And see, I saw the Bernadette one before I moved out of the first time I moved out of New York. I saw the Bernadette one, and then I wasn't here or there for the Patty one. And then you played Petra in Little Night Music too.
Yeah.
There's some pretty awesome Broadway credits on your resume.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
And how lucky are we to have you come and do our first show
ever?
What do you remember most about that?
That was one of the most incredible experiences. I
really?
I mean, seriously, I know. Well, first of all, I love the show. I mean, the show is such a dream of a show.
Show's great. Yeah.
For an actor, I mean, and I think even like probably like the male roles would say the same, you know, about their experiences, because it's so tiny, and the show is so full of art, which is something that really draws me. It's just, I've always gravitated to that. I'm not like a mainstream person for some reason. Like I just never fit into that world, but in like the very artsy, like deep, gritty things I've just loved, you know? And I loved it. I mean, first of all, being like the first production, I think was so cool. And the fact that you guys did Violet as the first production is even cooler.
Yeah.
We don't get me wrong. We loved it. We loved everything about it. It was a great show. We had a great time. We know that we had some growing pains, and we are just so thankful that we had an amazing cast to walk us through that. And then that, obviously you included. You guys really elevated that first production for us. It was great.
I mean, I think that the cool thing is, I mean, if theaters aren't born, right? If you don't start, then it doesn't happen. So it's like, you know, who cares? I mean, not who cares about the growing.
And we took a big bite.
Like literally, I feel like coming down, I felt like, oh, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be cool. And then like the first sing through, I was like, where did these people come from? You know, how? Like, it's this like, what in the world? And it was like, I mean, literally, no joke.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Court, I feel like they could have been up in that production on Broadway easily. Like I say that about, I mean, literally.
It was crazy good cast. Crazy good. Yeah.
It was so good. And I mean, I think that even the space, it was like perfect for the production because it was tiny and the stage was so intimate, and like you didn't need to push an ounce, you know, you just lived.
Well, it kind of looked like a church. I mean, it was never a church apparently, but it built to kind of look like a church. And because it was, shall we say, run down a bit.
It was rustic.
It fit. Did you say rustic?
I did.
It's that it fit the theme of the show, which, you know, was mid-60s Southern. Part of it takes place in a church.
In church, right?
You know, it really worked. I mean, yes, there were some bats and dead animals in the walls, and
what do you know, it's
things,
really,
but
you know, I mean, that's spring in Madison. No, no joke.
Well, when I did Cabaret a few years ago, I walked past it and I relived all of my memories. It was really sweet. Like I would just like walk past and
Right,
And
right,
think
right.
I, like,
That's right, because you were
texted
here for
Kevin or
that tour.
Well,
Um,
and two, wait, I just have to mention, and funny enough, just because everything circles back to everything else we've talked about, when Leanne was in Madison doing the tour of Cabaret, I went to see it, and then I took her to the Bassett Street Brunch Club,
yeah, we
which
talk
keeps
about that almost
coming
in
up.
every episode. Those people are going to give us like free brunches forever.
Seriously,
Yeah,
we've
know.
given them so much business.
I love that
What was
place.
one of, now I know you probably didn't have a lot of time to walk around in Madison because we were on such a crazy schedule.
Yeah.
Did you have any memories of the city, the town that you liked? Anything that you liked doing? Anything you saw? Anything?
Oh, I loved Madison. I mean, I loved going to that ice cream shop. What is it, like the
Chocolate shop?
Taco Chop.
chocolate
Hmm.
shop? I loved there. I loved going to the river, like or not the river,
The
the
lake?
lake, right?
Lakefront.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
I loved walking to the lake. I would walk my dog there all the time.
Okay.
I liked, I mean, I loved the cheese shop. So I was like sort of in the capital. Um, I love it there. There was like a little, I would always get a big watermelon at like the little grocery store that was like, I don't know if it's still there, but it was like near the rehearsal studio.
Yeah, it's still there.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Cap City. It's
Yeah.
actually called Cap City Foods, isn't it? Isn't that what it's called?
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Capital Center Foods. Capital
Capital
Center.
Center Foods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just think that, I mean, the city is so beautiful. I mean, really, like it just the main street and with the Capitol building, like right there, it's really, really, really beautiful. Here's my dog scratching at the door to get
How's Madison? Her dog's name is
she's
Madison.
Good. She's
That's
good.
right,
Madison,
right.
Madison.
Madison.
When you showed up with the dog named Madison, I thought this is too good to be true.
You're like,
Right.
did you plan this? No. But I just loved it. I mean, I really did. I loved being there. I loved being there.
Do you think that is this shifting gears slightly? Do you think that going forward, what do you see as the future for? I know that we don't know, but how do you think Broadway is going to change when we start reopening it again? Do you think people are going to flock to 1,100 seat theaters and fill every seat, even if we open in late of 2020 or even early 2021? Or do you think there's going to be a slow kind of thing? What do you think?
Gosh, Andy, I mean, I'm kind of, I'm bad at like predicting these things because I'm a person who's, I mean, like, I don't know. But then, just as I've seen demonstrated, I feel like 50-50 because in some places where things have reopened that you think like, oh, people won't go, to this restaurant quite yet because it's, or people, when the minute things reopen, people will say that was packed. That place was packed. You couldn't get a seat. And so you think in that way, will people have kind of grown numb to the circumstances to where they just say like, we need this and we're going to go and we're going to just do what we have to do to fulfill like our mental health and our, our artistic, quench our artistic thirst and or will people be, a little nervous, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one area that I feel like I don't know, but I did read, what I love is I read that people are starting to get creative with like outdoor theaters and, and I think that's so cool. I mean, Broadway will be back. It's theater has been since like ancient times. So
Yes.
but how things will reopen, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm sort of the same.
Yeah, there's times where I'm extremely optimistic, and then there's moments where I'm like, nah, and I don't like to be that person that is pessimistic or just thinks doom and gloom.
Right.
So I try and do the optimism area, and it's hard because you don't want to be disappointed.
Yeah.
that kind of world. So yeah, I don't know. We're facing it here, obviously, in Madison with all the numerous arts organizations we have. It's really, it's a huge part of Madison, and we're all feeling it, and we're just trying to all like lean on each other a little bit to say we're one day going to get past it, but it affects so many of us, and we'll see. I don't know.
The Overture Center's closed until when now, Gail?
I don't know. I mean, at
okay.
least through, I think the beginning of August, I believe, is all I can remember.
Yeah, that's our big.
So-
Well, been there.
Yeah, well, and of course they have
Leanne's been there.
they have a 2021 season that is, in the works at the moment. I just don't know. I don't have the information yet
I mean,
about
it's just,
where that's
it's
coming.
hard that it's not just one area of the country, right? I mean, theater, I'm sure people know this, but theater is very prevalent across the whole United States of America. And so I think that's what's sad to think that genre has been affected in every state, not just New York and not just on Broadway. I mean, this is, an art form that is just down. Like, it's just down. And I think that, we need to.
I just read an article yesterday that the Guthrie Theater is going from a staff of like 200 and something
60,
to 50.
Something, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's really sad.
Right. And I all we do is you can just hope and pray for a fast turnaround,
Right.
something that's going to.
And Shetler Studios just closed in New York, which was a big staple for as long as I lived there.
Yeah. I do think as many people that, there are a lot of people who think when they see these articles about like things that have reopened becoming, populated quickly, like beaches or restaurants. I do think the one thing about that is promising is that it does give you hope that people will in fact just come out of this as they were before, that you do see people really taking steps to move forward. And I think that that's really promising for theater, because if those things are going to be coming back and reopening and, then I do think that theater will as well, but I think probably not for.
What's on your plate for when we are able to gather again, or if you at some point this you're going back to New York, or what's is there a favorite restaurant you want to visit? Is there an outdoor space that you want to find with your friends? What's going to be sort of like the first things on your plate that you really want to revisit?
Yeah, I've thought about that too. I'm like, I want to go back when I can see people, and not in close proximity, social distancing, but I want people to feel comfortable with that. I want people to feel comfortable sitting in an outdoor space together, and yeah, I mean, in the summer, like I love walking Riverside Park. That's like probably my favorite park in all of New York, and I live close to it.
You still live on 79th Street?
On 75th, yeah.
5th Street, right.
Yeah, and I have a terrace, so I love having people over. So like,
right.
Hopefully, we'll become comfortable with that. And I love sitting on sidewalks and at restaurants in the summer. I think it's so fun, because there's only a few months out of the year that you can sit outside in the city, and I love that. So, and I want to support small businesses, small restaurants too, because that's so much of what makes New York, New York. And I think people, in that area are really hurting too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also true.
Yeah.
Do you have any upcoming TV or theatrical things that you can tell us about that is coming up for you?
Well, Blue Bloods just got picked up for another season, so hopefully I'll be back with that. I think that nobody in TV and film even has an idea of when they're going to, I mean, maybe they're in the process of starting to, but Blue Bloods does film in New York, so I think that does make it different than if it would film in another state. Perhaps, I don't know, maybe not. But I really hope to be a part of some more, that series, because I love that. And other than that, I think it's just trying to navigate like the new normal of what is going to be the thing. I know that people, I think, are trying to create their own projects, and other companies are trying to create projects that are conducive. Like I had an audition for something where you would film yourself. Right. So like, as we would be doing this, like the parks and recreations where they did like their Zoom.
Right.
So there could be things like that. But hopefully.
Gosh, the whole end season of The Voice was done online. I mean, that just, I don't know how they did that. That was amazing. I didn't get to watch really the season, but I did see the season finale, and I was like, what? It was amazing how they produced that. I don't know.
Isn't that so cool though, that people honestly are like, okay, we're just shifting and we're going to do this now. There's not really a lull. Yeah. Which is, kudos to the creatives and people that, have that part of their brain that,
Right. And don't get tired easily.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay. Another lesson with my Zoom.
I know. A lot of people are like, people like, I have to come up with like, what, how am I going to put myself out there? And that's never been something that I've been, great at. I'm good at like showing up and doing the work and being like, what, just dissecting into like like people's heads and characters and things. I've never been good at like, what am I going to create for myself that, is going to be
right.
That
no,
makes my brain hurt too. So.
Yeah.
No, I'm not singing anything on video.
No, we're not doing that.
I don't play guitar.
This is our way of doing it. That's all we're doing.
We do this. We interview really exciting and awesome people like you. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's amazing though.
Well, listen, thank you so much for being with us today. And it's so great to see you and see you doing well. And we watch all your TV shows.
Oh, I miss you guys. I'm so excited for you though, and just like what you've created in such a short amount of time. That is
thanks.
amazing.
And we'll bring you back one of these days.
Yeah,
and I would love to. I would love to anytime.
Great.
Gosh,
Great.
I've just had the best time there.
We are so grateful that you are part of the first 5 years. So that's really exciting.
The first 5 minutes.
I know, right? That's it. You're the first 5 minutes. That's a real feather in the cap.
Truly, she was there for the first 5 minutes. First rehearsal.
How about it?
Anyway, well, best to you, and keep in touch
and your family.
And
thank you. You guys too.
Thank you so much. We'll see you real soon.
Yeah, so great to see you.
Okay. Bye guys.
Bye bye. Love it.
Oh, she's such a breath of fresh air.
And she, man, she works a lot.
Yeah, she really does.
And she was just saying, I don't really do all that self-promotion sort of thing really well. I'm like, are you kidding me? You're in demand all the time. Yeah. That's huge.
Yes, indeed. So, we know that there are a lot of arts organizations that are in need. We even mentioned the Guthrie today, and, some are perhaps in dire need, and we hope that you will support any arts group. If you wish to support us, we certainly welcome that. We all need it, but it's up to you, and we don't we are not out there saying we need your money. Like we don't want to do that.
Yeah, so, we know it's a tough time for a lot of people, and we're just grateful that you're supporting CCT and watching these or talking about us, sharing information about Capital City Theater. That's great too.
And if you would like to donate, go to our website, capitalcitytheater.org, and check on donate, the donate button. And
thank you to our team of Beth and Kaylee and Paul and Evan's awesome music. Thank you so much. It takes, it's not just Andy and I doing all this. There's no way.
Village.
We would never be able to produce this by ourselves. So we're lucky we push the recording button every once in a while because we do forget.
Yeah. Yes, like the one time we recorded an entire interview with
Sydney.
It was lost.
Yeah. And we had to redo it.
Annals of time. Anyway, all right. Well, we'll see you for the next one. And until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy the better weather.
Yes. We're getting there, Wisconsin. We're getting
there.
Okay.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.